Every decision you make, every action you take is a reflection of what you truly value. It's easy to blame external forces when life doesn't go the way you want, but at the end of the day, your choices are what shape your reality. You are where you are right now because of a series of decisions you made, whether consciously or unconsciously. Yes, life throws curveballs, but how you respond to those challenges is entirely in your control. Owning your choices means taking full responsibility for both your successes and your failures. Let's break it down. When you say what you're really saying is, I wasn't want to make the harder choice. Because let's be real, there's always a choice. You chose to stay in that relationship. You chose not to study for the exam. You chose to skip the gym. These decisions might seem small in the moment, but they add up. Each one either brings you closer to your goals or pushes you further away from them. And until you recognize that, you'll stay stuck, feeling like life is happening to you instead of because of you. Owning your choices also means owning your mindset. You choose how you see the world. You can focus on what's missing, what's unfair, and what's hard, or you can focus on what's possible, what's working, and what you can do. Your perspective isn't something handed to you by others, it's something you create for yourself. And the way you frame your experiences shapes the actions you take. Are you looking for opportunities or are you looking for excuses? That's a choice too. When you own your choices, you stop wasting energy on things you can't control. Too many people spend their lives trying to change the weather, fix other people, or rewrite the past. But here's the truth. The only thing you can control is what you do next. It's liberating when you finally leave falling outside your power and focus on what you can change your decisions. Every single day, you're faced with hundreds of tiny choices, and each one is a chance to move forward or hold yourself back. This also means owning the consequences of your decisions. When you succeed, don't just pat yourself on the back, analyze what choices got you there. And when you fail, don't hide from it. Don't blame other people, the circumstances, or bad luck. Look at your choices with brutal honesty. What did you do or not do that led to this moment? Failure isn't the enemy. Denying your role in failure is. When you take responsibility, you reclaim your power. You stop being a victim of your life and start becoming the architect of it. Owning your choices requires discipline. It's easy to make decisions based on what feels good right now, sleeping in, skipping the tough conversation, avoiding the work. But discipline means choosing what you want most over what you want right now. It means thinking long term, even when it's uncomfortable in the short term. Every disciplined choice you make builds momentum. And over time, those small, consistent actions lead to massive results. It also means being intentional. Don't let life happen to you by default. Every choice you make, no matter how small, should align with the vision you have for yourself. Ask yourself, is this decision helping me or hurting me? Is it bringing me closer to my goals or taking me further away? When you live with intention, your life becomes a reflection of your purpose, not a series of random events. Finally, owning your choices is about self-respect. When you take responsibility for your life, you're telling yourself that you matter, that your actions matter, and that your future matters. You stop settling for mediocrity and start demanding excellence from yourself. You recognize that every choice you make is a vote for the person you want to become. When you own your choices, you own your life. Human nature to avoid discomfort. We're wired to seek pleasure, to take the easy route, to dodge pain whenever possible. But here's the truth. The easy road doesn't lead anywhere worth going. The hard stuff, the struggles, the failures, the moments when you feel like quitting, that's where transformation happens. Every time you run from the hard stuff, you're running from your growth, from your strength, and from the person you're supposed to become. Think about it. The challenges you face aren't there to punish you, they're there to prepare you. Every obstacle in your life is an opportunity in disguise. That difficult conversation you've been avoiding. It's a chance to strengthen a relationship or stand up for yourself. That task you keep putting off because it feels overwhelming. It's an opportunity to learn, to grow, to prove to yourself what you're capable of. But when you run from these moments, you rob yourself of those lessons. You stay the same, stuck in a cycle of avoidance and regret. Avoiding the hard stuff doesn't make it go away, it makes it worse. Problems don't solve themselves just because you ignore them. In fact, they usually grow bigger, heavier, and more complicated the longer you avoid them. That debt you keep pretending isn't there is accumulating interest. That health issue you're ignoring, it's getting harder to treat. That dream you keep delaying is fading further out of reach. Running might feel easier in the moment, but it only makes the journey harder in the long run. Facing the hard stuff requires courage, but courage isn't the absence of fear, it's taking action in spite of it. The truth is, everyone feels fear when they're stepping into the unknown or tackling something challenging. The difference between people who succeed and people who stay stuck isn't that the successful ones are fearless, it's that they feel the fear and do it anyway. They recognize that fear is a sign they're about to grow, not a signal to stop. The hard stuff also teaches you resilience. Every time you face a challenge head on, you're building mental and emotional toughness. You're proving to yourself that you can handle more than you thought you could. That strength doesn't come from avoiding difficulty, it comes from embracing it. The more you lean into the hard stuff, the more prepared you'll be for whatever comes next. Life doesn't get easier, you get stronger, and that strength is earned through struggle. Running from the hard stuff also keeps you trapped in a mindset of limitation. When you avoid challenges, you reinforce the belief that you're not capable, that you're not enough. But when you face those challenges, when you do the thing you thought you couldn't do, you shatter those limitations. You realize that the only thing standing between you and your goals is your willingness to face the discomfort required to achieve them. The hard stuff forces you to grow in ways you never expected. It pushes you out of your comfort zone, forcing you to learn, adapt, and evolve. The truth is, the person you are today isn't capable of achieving the dreams you have for tomorrow. That's why you have to go through the hard stuff. It's what shapes you into the person who can handle the success you're striving for. Growth is uncomfortable because it requires change, and change is never easy. When you stop running from the hard stuff, you take back control of your life. You stop being a victim of your circumstances and start being a creator of your destiny. Every challenge you face is a step forward, a brick in the foundation of the life you're building. And the more you embrace those challenges, the more unstoppable you become. The hard stuff doesn't define you, it refines you. We spend so much of our lives looking outward, comparing ourselves to others, trying to measure up to the people we see on social media, at work, or even in our own circles. But here's the truth. The real competition isn't out there. It's not with your coworker, your neighbor, or even the person who seems to have it all together. The real battle, the one that will make or break your success, is happening in your head. It's you against you, and until you conquer that, nothing else matters. In your mind is where every excuse is born. It's the voice that says, I'm too tired, I don't have enough time, or what if I fail? That voice isn't external, it's yours. It's the part of you that's scared, that's stuck in old habits, that's clinging to comfort because it doesn't want to risk change. And every time you listen to that voice, you let it win. You let it convince you to play small, to stay where you are, to settle for less than what you're capable of. The competition in your head is relentless. It's not just one moment of doubt, it's an ongoing battle. It shows up when your alarm goes off and you're deciding whether to hit snooze or start your day. It's there when you're halfway through a workout and your body says stop, but your goals scream, keep going. It's there every time you face a challenge and your mind offers you two choices, quit or push through. Each decision is a fight, and each fight determines whether you move forward or stay stuck. The toughest part is that the opponent in your head knows you better than anyone else. It knows your fears, your insecurities, and your weaknesses. It knows how to hit you where it hurts. But here's the thing, it also knows your strengths. It knows your dreams and your potential. That same mind that tries to hold you back also holds the power to push you forward. It's not about silencing the negative voice completely, it's about choosing which voice to amplify. The real competition in your head is between the version of you that wants to stay the same and the version of you that's fighting to grow. The old you wants to take the easy way out, to stick to what's familiar to avoid risk. The new you wants more growth, more success, more fulfillment. But the new you can only emerge if you're willing to outwork, outthink, and outlast the old you. It's not a one-time victory, it's a daily decision to show up and do the hard work. Your thoughts shape your actions, and your actions shape your reality. If your mind is filled with doubt, fear, and negativity, that's what your life will reflect. But if you train your mind to focus on possibility, to believe in your potential, and to embrace challenges as opportunities, your actions will follow suit. This isn't easy, it takes time, practice, and a commitment to mental discipline. But it's worth it, because the moment you win in your head, you start to win in your life. The real competition in your head also involves breaking free from the limiting beliefs you've carried for years. These beliefs often aren't even yours, they were planted by others, by society, by past failures. But they've taken root in your mind, convincing you that you can't, that you're not enough, that success is for someone else. The only way to defeat these beliefs is to challenge them, to prove them wrong with your actions, and to replace them with beliefs that empower you. When you focus on the competition in your head, you stop worrying about what everyone else is doing. You realize that their success or failure has nothing to do with you. The only person you need to beat is the version of you who doubts, who hesitates, who gives up too soon. Every time you push past those mental barriers, you're one step closer to becoming the person you're meant to be. The real competition isn't outside of you, it's within you. Motivation is exciting. It's that spark of energy you feel after watching an inspiring video or hearing a powerful speech. It's the rush of adrenaline that gets you pumped to chase your dreams, to hit the gym, to tackle your goals. But here's the thing about motivation, it doesn't last. It's like a firework, bright, exciting, but gone in an instant. Discipline, on the other hand, is steady. It's not flashy, it's not glamorous, but it's what gets the job done when motivation has long disappeared. Discipline is what keeps you moving forward on the days you don't feel like it. Motivation might get you to the starting line, but discipline is what carries you across the finish. There will be days when you wake up and feel completely unmotivated, days when the thought of doing the work feels overwhelming, exhausting, or even pointless. That's when discipline steps in. Discipline says, I don't care how you feel, we're doing this anyway. Discipline is the voice that drowns out excuses. Motivation is driven by emotion, and emotions are unpredictable. One moment you're inspired, and the next you're questioning everything. Discipline, however, is driven by commitment. It's not about how you feel in the moment. It's about the promise you made to yourself. When you're disciplined, you don't rely on fleeting feelings to dictate your actions. You act because you've decided that your goals are non-negotiable, and you refuse to let temporary emotions get in the way. Discipline is a habit, and like any habit is built through consistency. The more you practice showing up, even when you don't feel like it, the easier it becomes. It's like building a muscle. The first few reps are tough, but over time you get stronger. And just like with muscles, the more disciplined you become, the more resilient you are to challenges. You stop looking for reasons to quit and start finding ways to keep going. Discipline rewires your brain to prioritize action over excuses. Discipline doesn't just create results, it builds trust with yourself. Every time you follow through on a commitment, you're sending a message to yourself that you can be counted on. This self-trust is invaluable because it fuels confidence and self-respect. On the flip side, every time you let yourself off the hook because you're not motivated, you chip away at that trust. You start to doubt your own ability to stick to your word, and that doubt can become a cycle of inaction. Motivation can be derailed by setbacks, but discipline adapts. When you're motivated, a bad day can throw you off course. A missed workout, a failed attempt, or a tough obstacle can make you feel like giving up. Discipline, though, doesn't waver. It acknowledges the setback, adjusts the plan, and keeps going. Discipline understands that progress isn't about being perfect, it's about being persistent. It's about showing up again and again, no matter how many times you fall. Discipline also eliminates the need for constant decision making. When you rely on motivation, you're constantly negotiating with yourself. Should I do it today? Do I feel like it? Is it worth it? But when you're disciplined, the decision has already been made. You don't waste energy debating whether or not to act. You simply do what needs to be done because it's part of your routine, part of who you are. Discipline simplifies your life by making action automatic. Finally, discipline creates freedom. It might sound counterintuitive, but the structure and consistency that discipline brings actually free you from the chaos of indecision and inconsistency. When you're disciplined, you're in control of your time, your actions, and your results. You're no longer at the mercy of fleeting feelings or external circumstances. You built a foundation that allows you to achieve your goals regardless of the ups and downs of life. Discipline is the bridge between where you are and where you want to be. We live in a world that glorifies the end result. Success stories are filled with the trophies, the accolades, the applause, and the big wins. But what most people don't see and what truly matters is the grind that got them there, the daily, unrelenting commitment to the process. Focusing solely on the outcome can leave you frustrated, impatient, and overwhelmed. The process, however, is where the real transformation happens. The process is what builds you, strengthens you, and prepares you for the moment when the outcome finally arrives. When you commit to the process, you shift your focus from what you can't control to what you can. Outcomes are unpredictable. They depend on timing, circumstances, and factors that often lie beyond your reach. But the process, that's yours. It's the work you put in every day, the habits you build, and the effort you give. It's the part of the journey where your control is absolute. By embracing the process, you free yourself from the anxiety of wondering if and when the results will come. The process teaches you patience. We're conditioned to want instant gratification, to expect quick results for our efforts. But real, lasting success takes time. It's easy to get discouraged when the payoff doesn't come as quickly as you'd hope. That's why committing to the process is so important. It shifts your focus from needing immediate validation to trusting that consistent effort will eventually lead to progress. It's not about perfection, it's about persistence, one step at a time. When you're committed to the process, you learn to find joy in the journey. You stop seeing the work as a means to an end and start appreciating it for what it is, a chance to grow, to improve, and to push yourself beyond your limits. Whether it's practicing a skill, building a business, or transforming your health, the process becomes fulfilling in itself. You celebrate the small wins, the incremental progress, and the lessons learned along the way. These moments are just as valuable, if not more so, than the final result. The process is where character is built. The challenges, setbacks, and struggles you face along the way are what shape you. Every time you choose to keep going despite the obstacles, you're developing resilience, discipline, and a mindset that refuses to quit. These qualities aren't just important for achieving one goal, they're the foundation for achieving anything you set your mind to. The process molds you into a person who can handle not only success, but also the weight of responsibility that comes with it. Committing to the process also protects you from the highs and lows of external validation. If your happiness is tied solely to achieving an outcome, you're setting yourself up for disappointment. Outcomes are fleeting, they come and go, but the process is ongoing. It's a constant in your life that you can rely on. By focusing on the process, you create a sense of fulfillment that isn't dependent on whether or not you hit a specific target. You learn to value effort over results, which brings a deeper sense of satisfaction. The process is where you discover what you're truly capable of. When you push yourself day in and day out, you realize that you're stronger, smarter, and more resourceful than you ever imagined. You start to see the progress, not just in the results, but in who you're becoming. This is where the real magic happens, not in the final outcome, but in the transformation that takes place along the way. The process reveals your potential and shows you that the journey itself is the reward. Finally, when you commit to the process, you build momentum. Each day of consistent effort builds on the last, creating a ripple effect that carries you forward. The process teaches you that success isn't about one big moment, it's about a series of small, consistent actions over time. By committing to the process, you're creating habits and systems that make success inevitable. The results will come, but they're not the focus. The focus is on showing up every single day and giving your best to the work. The biggest limits in your life are not the ones the world puts on you, but the ones you've put on yourself. Somewhere along the way, you started believing a story about who you are and what you can or cannot do. Maybe it was something someone said, a failure you experienced, or a fear that crept in and never left. These self-imposed limitations are like invisible chains holding you back from the greatness you're capable of. But here's the thing, those chains are not unbreakable. You put them on, you have the power to break them. Breaking the limitations you've placed on yourself begins with awareness. You have to recognize the beliefs that are holding you back. Maybe it's the idea that you're not smart enough, not strong enough, or not talented enough. Maybe you've told yourself, I'm too old, I don't have the resources, or it's just not meant for me. These thoughts aren't facts, they're stories. And as long as you keep telling yourself these stories, you'll live within the boundaries they create. Once you're aware of your limitations, you have to challenge them. Ask yourself, where did this belief come from? Is it true, or is it just something I've accepted without question? More often than not, you'll find that these limitations are based on fear or past experiences, not reality. Just because something didn't work out before doesn't mean it never will. And just because you're afraid doesn't mean you're incapable. You have to confront these beliefs head on and replace them with new ones that empower you. Breaking your limitations requires action. It's not enough to think differently, you have to act differently. Start small if you need to, but start. Every time you take a step outside your comfort zone, you prove to yourself that the limitations you once believed in aren't real. Maybe it's speaking up in a meeting, signing up for a class, or trying something you've always been too afraid to attempt. Each small victory chips away at the walls you built around yourself, opening up a world of possibilities. You also have to stop comparing yourself to others. Your limitations often grow stronger when you measure your progress against someone else's. You see what they've achieved, and you convince yourself that you'll never get there. But their journey has nothing to do with yours. You're not in competition with anyone else. You're competing against the version of you that's afraid to try. Focus on your own growth, your own path, and the steps you can take today to move closer to your potential. Breaking limitations means embracing failure as part of the process. Too often, we let the fear of failure keep us trapped in our comfort zones. But failure isn't the enemy, it's a teacher. Every time you fail, you learn something new about yourself and what you're capable of. Failure shows you where you need to grow, where you need to adjust, and where you need to push harder. It's not a dead end, it's a detour that ultimately leads you closer to success. No one has more control over your life than you do. People might criticize you, doubt you, or even try to block your path, but at the end of the day, their opinions and actions can only hold you back if you let them. The real power lies within you, your mindset, your choices, and your actions. If you succeed or fail, it won't be because of what someone else did or didn't do. It will be because of what you chose to do or not do. The only person who can truly stop you is you. It starts with your thoughts. The way you think about yourself and your potential sets the tone for everything else. If you believe you're not good enough, if you tell yourself you can't do it, or if you let fear take over, you're stopping yourself before you even begin. Those limiting thoughts are the first barrier you have to break through. Success starts in your mind, and if you're not on your own side, no one else's support will matter. You have to be your own biggest believer. Your habits are another way you can either propel yourself forward or hold yourself back. The daily choices you make, what time you wake up, how you spend your time, what you prioritize either build momentum toward your goals or create excuses for why you're not making progress. Skipping one workout, procrastinating on one task, or saying I'll start tomorrow might seem small in the moment, but over time, these small choices add up. You have to decide whether you're going to let your habits support your success or sabotage it. Then there's fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of the unknown. These feelings are universal, but how you respond to them is what matters. Fear can stop you dead in your tracks, convincing you to stay in your comfort zone where it's safe and predictable. But that comfort zone is also where dreams go to die. The only way to move forward is to feel the fear and do it anyway. Fear isn't there to stop you, it's there to challenge you to grow stronger, braver, and more determined. Another way you stop yourself is focusing too much on what other people think. It's easy to let the fear of judgment keep you from taking risks, speaking up, or going after what you want. But other people's opinions aren't your reality. They don't live your life, and they don't have to deal with the consequences of your choices. You do. When you let the fear of judgment dictate your actions, you're handing over the keys to your life. You have to take them back and live for yourself, not for anyone else. Excuses are another form of self-sabotage. I don't have the money, I'm not ready yet. These are all just stories you tell yourself to avoid taking responsibility. Everyone has obstacles, but the difference between people who succeed and people who don't isn't the absence of challenges, it's the willingness to find a way around them. When you stop making excuses and start taking ownership, you take back your power. Self-doubt can also stop you in your tracks. That voice in your head that says, who do you think you are? Or you're not good enough is often the loudest and most destructive. But self-doubt is just fear wearing a different mask. It's not a fact, it's a feeling. And like all feelings, it can be overcome. The key is to take action despite the doubt. Prove to yourself that you're capable by doing the thing you're afraid of. Each step you take silences that voice a little more and builds confidence in its place. Finally, the ultimate way you stop yourself is by giving up. The moment you decide it's too hard, it's taking too long, or it's not worth it, you close the door on your dreams. But setbacks and challenges are not signals to quit, their tests to see how badly you want it. You're the one who decides whether to keep going or to walk away. No one else can make that choice for you. The only person who has the power to stop you is you. Every great change starts with a decision. Who do you want to be? Not who your parents, friends, or society expect you to be, but who you truly want to be. This decision is the foundation of everything that follows. It's not just about what you want to achieve. It's about the kind of person you want to become. Your character, your values, your mindset, these are the building blocks of the life you want to create. And once you make that decision, you have to fight for it every single day. Deciding who you want to be isn't easy because it requires brutal honesty with yourself. It means acknowledging where your fall is short, confronting the habits and mindsets that are holding you back, and letting go of the excuses you've used to justify staying the same. It's uncomfortable, but it's necessary. You can't become the person you want to be by clinging to the person you've always been. This decision demands self-awareness and a willingness to face the truth, even when it's hard to swallow. Once you've made the decision, the fight begins. The world isn't going to hand you the life you want on a silver platter. There will be obstacles, distractions, and moments of doubt. You'll face criticism, setbacks, and even resistance from the people closest to you. This is where most people give up because they didn't realize how much work it would take. But if you're serious about becoming the person you want to be, you have to be prepared to fight through all of it. The fight isn't just external, it's internal too. The biggest battles are the ones you fight within yourself. The version of you that's scared, lazy, or comfortable will try to pull you back to your old ways. You'll hear that voice in your head telling you, it's too hard, you're not good enough, or why bother? You have to silence that voice and replace it with one that says, keep going, you got this, and this is worth it. Winning this internal battle is the key to everything else. Fighting for who you want to be also means making sacrifices. You can't hold on to every habit, every relationship, and every comfort zone if you want to grow. Some things will have to go. Maybe it's spending less time on social media, distancing yourself from negative influences, or giving up the late night so you can wake up early and work on your goals. These sacrifices are the price you pay to become the person you're meant to be, and they're always worth it in the end. Consistency is your greatest weapon in this fight. You can't just decide who you want to be and hope it happens overnight. It's about showing up every single day, putting in the work, and staying committed even when it feels like nothing is changing. It's in the daily grind, the small victories, and the unglamorous moments that the transformation happens. Each step, no matter how small, brings you closer to the person you've decided to become. You also have to protect your vision. Not everyone will understand your journey, and that's okay. Some people might doubt you, criticize you, or even try to pull you back down. You can't let their opinions derail you. Stay focused on your vision and remember why you started. Surround yourself with people who support and challenge you, who believe in your potential even when you're struggling to believe in it yourself. Protecting your vision is just as important as pursuing it. The most powerful thing about deciding who you want to be and fighting for it is that it gives your life purpose. Every action, every choice, every moment becomes part of a larger moment than just going through the motions you're living in.